on a beer run today. Welcome back to the Misplaced Motovlogger. If you're new here, my name is Frank. And we are riding an Indian Scout through southern part of New Jersey. If you would, if you're new, throw me a like, subscribe, maybe share it with a friend, hit the bell for notifications. Today we are on a beer run, kind of. And I say kind of because we're not actually going to go get beer. We're going to go get some supplies to make beer. Yeah, I'm sure just like many of you, riding a motorcycle isn't your only hobby. It's always good to have a couple different things to do, keep you busy outside of work. And for me, one of those things is brewing my own beer. Now, I started brewing my own beer about 10 years ago. I worked with a guy who happened to be a home brewer. And he brought some of his beer in for me. I took it home, you know, I tried it out, and it was so good. I was just kind of blown away that this guy was making beer of this quality, essentially in his garage. I wanted to try and do it for myself. Well, I started looking into it, and of course, where did I end up? YouTube. It's like my go-to if you want to, you know, learn something about anything, it seems. So I started throwing the searches in there to into YouTube. Came across a bunch of channels, kind of how-tos, different methods. The easy beginner way to the more advanced method of brewing. My coworker, he hooked me up with a guy who owned a homebrew store. That one's in a different direction from where we're going. I went, got the basic kit, big stainless stock pot to boil what I needed to boil. And my first batch actually really wasn't that bad. Wasn't going to win any awards, but it was certainly drinkable. After that first batch, I just continued and tried different styles. It really opened me up to different beer styles that I would never have probably been interested in before. Because before I started brewing, I was what you would refer to as a BMC drinker. That's Bud, Miller, and Coors. That was pretty much all I was drinking, minus the Bud and the Coors. I started seeing these different styles: stout, porter, saison, brown ales, Scotch ales. So I'd go out and I would buy a commercial version of one of these if I could find it. By this time, there's plenty of places that sold a lot of craft beer. And then I would go, early on, I was only brewing with kits. So the kit would consist of all the ingredients that you need to brew a batch. A lot of them would even come with beer caps, because most people would bottle. Early on, I found out that was one of the worst things. I hated bottling my beer. I don't know why, I just did not enjoy it at all. Instead of bottling, I would keg. And that would consist of using those old 5-gallon soda kegs. If anybody ever worked in fast food back in the early 90s especially, or way back in the day at the, you know, the carnivals and the fairs, they would have those 5-gallon stainless soda containers that would contain the soda syrup. Well, in the early 90s, Pepsi stopped using them, and they put all their stuff, it was a bag in a box. And they sold off all these old Cornelius kegs, was their name. Back when I started brewing and kegging, you could get these corny kegs for 15-20 bucks. And the supply started to get thinner and thinner. Price went higher and higher. Supply and demand, you know, that whole chestnut. Kind of went off on a little tangent there, sorry about that, but when I started, I was brewing everything from a kit. So you got all the ingredients and the instructions, and eventually I moved on to just brewing with the raw ingredients, which essentially are barley, hops, yeast, and water. I kind of make the analogy between the two different ways of brewing is brewing from the kit is like going to the supermarket and buying a Duncan Hines cake mix, going home, adding some milk and eggs, and saying that you baked the cake, which you did. All you did was add a couple ingredients and put it in the oven. Versus the way I'm brewing now, it's pretty much totally from scratch. Not that either way is better, because I still have brewed the easy kit way, just because sometimes brewing from the raw ingredients will take you 4 to 5 hours easily to brew a 5-gallon batch, or to brew a 10-gallon batch, depending on what size you want to brew. Brewing from the kit, using a malt extract instead of just the, you know, the crushed barley, you can have a batch done in 2 hours. Now we are heading to the well, yeah, you're along for the ride, so I'll go ahead and say we are heading down to the homebrew store. It's actually about a 45-minute ride to get down here, but it is one of the closer ones. And we're just gonna get a couple of little things so I can brew a batch of beer. I probably won't brew the beer till next weekend. If you want to see any of that, let me know. I'll maybe throw it into one of my next videos. Oh man, it got nice and cool out here. Joys of riding a motorcycle. Do any of you guys brew your own beer? What do you do for other hobbies. Yeah, brewing beer isn't the only other hobby I've ever had. I still have a 66 Mustang sitting in my garage. It's partially restored. I haven't really worked on the Mustang in a while. That's due to the fact that I'm giving my wife a break from the welding fumes and or paint fumes that end up getting into the house. It's fun, but yeah, do something like that. Really need a detached garage. One of these days I will have one. Yeah, racing at Atco today. Awesome. Ooh, Mustang. Oh, love it. Back in high school, that was the place to hang out, man. Come down there Friday nights for street night. You'd see the guys on the sport bikes popping wheelies off the line. Probably scaring the crap out of themselves. Had some good times down there. That'll do it for this one. If you would, guys, like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, keep the rubber on the road. See ya.